I have worked so hard to be like my stepmother and sister. And years later, when I thought I started getting my stepsister's attention, I got fooled by her and got stabbed in my back by her. Let me give you a little backstory so you will understand my situation. I'm 21, studying in college, and live with my stepmother and sister. My mother passed away around 8 years ago, and my father got married to my stepmother around 5 years ago. She had a daughter about the same age as me, so I was excited to have a sister and a friend by my side. Because my dad is always out of town because of his business, and I was feeling lonely after my mother passed away. But my stepmom and sister never seemed to notice me or never bothered to show their affection towards me. Only when my dad occasionally stayed with us for weekends, they used to act as if I existed. For some, a family plays a pivotal role in nurturing, and for others, they are the force that will stop you from succeeding in your life. When the family consists of just stepsister and mother, the chance of getting the latter is more prominent. Unfortunately, I also fall into the second category, and my fault was that I tried to get their affection for too long. I was always good at studies, and on the other hand, my stepsister was slow. She was more into boys and dating. I was planning to get into a good college from the very beginning, and my dad used to send money to my stepmom for both of our tuition fees. But my mother used to keep it for herself and refused to pay for it. She used to tell me my father was unable to send us the money. So whenever I suggested that I should ask him personally, she always blamed me for thinking that my father is a money-making machine. She used to use that money to give more than one tuition to her daughter because she needs more help than me, and used to complain that I'm being insensitive. She had been a weak learner from adolescence, and because of that, my stepmother ordered me to be there whenever she wanted my help. I used to follow her orders to get something so petty that I should be getting without doing anything for anyone. She was an attention seeker and always found a way to divert our parents' attention from me. I always used to go to different competitions, and I won in many. Whenever both my father and stepmom attend those ceremonies, my stepsister always would come with some kind of emergency to sabotage it, and her mother was so overprotective towards her that she would not let my father finish the function/occasion, no matter how petty her emergency excuses may sound. Whenever I used to get the common flu or something contagious, she would ignore me altogether and rush to take care of her daughter instead, so that she might not catch it from me. She never looked towards me and my needs. One of the biggest sacrifices for my sister I made for the force of my stepmother is going to the same college as hers so that I will be able to be there for her. I did well in my final exams, and my aim was to leave the house and study far away from them, because by that time, I was slowly realizing staying with them wouldn't be good for my future. Getting into a good college away from them was also not hard for me, as I was doing good in my school years, like participating in extracurricular activities, which added extra points to my CV. I was well liked by my teachers as well. On the other hand, my sister was not interested in anything that had anything to do with her studies. She would rather talk with her girlfriends about some hot boy she intends to date next and bother me in my study area. She used to sabotage everything that I was doing better than her. When I told my mother that I wanted to study in a college far from the house, she threw a tantrum saying what her daughter would do then. She couldn't live without me, and she convinced my father with lies that I got into drugs lately, a lie that was planted by my stepsister, and which is why I want to leave them. And my father fell for that and ordered me to study at our nearest college with my sister. To be honest, this college wasn't that bad. I just wanted to live far from them. But I guess that wouldn't be possible, and I thought that I will just ignore her antics and focus on myself. My stepsister was adamant about keeping me under her leash, and because of that, she used to do all kinds of actions and blame it on me. I genuinely thought that she was a naive creature and would understand me and be good to me. I thought one day she would realize how caring I was throughout the years, and all I wanted is a genuine sibling relationship. And I thought it was starting to happen when, after enrolling in college, she started being all friendly with me. She even arranged a birthday party for me, and I was amazed because I can't remember the last time I got this much attention from her. I started to think maybe from now on things will change and I will get my due affection and recognition from my sister. Me and my stepmother and stepsister went to dinner to celebrate my birthday. My sister was all happy, and she told me that she was happy that I was her sister, which sounded like it came out of a dream, but it was the truth. I almost got emotional. She even gifted me a posh lipstick. You see, she was one of those popular kids in school, so I thought finally she thought I was good enough to own these kinds of lipstick. We started going to college together. She even introduced me to some of her friends, even took my side when my stepmom said anything against me. Those sudden changes of attitude in her hit me like a bullet, and I was in awe rather than wriggling in pain. I thought I would enjoy college to the fullest, but I never could have imagined she had more than just a bullet for me in mind. I would say a missile. It was all just a calm before the storm, because this act of hers only lasted for about a month. One morning, I sat at the dining table for breakfast and found that my mom and sister were already there. My father had returned to stay the weekend with us, so all of us were waiting for him to get ready for breakfast. I greeted my mom and sister good morning, but there was no response from them. Mom just mumbled something and my sister was busy on her phone. Just when my father came into the dining hall, their mood changed. This is what they used to do before being all goody-goody to me. They always acknowledged my existence only when he was around. I just decided to ignore it and focus on having a conversation with my father about what he has been up to lately. After that, my sister joined the conversation and that led to talking about our crushes and boyfriends. My father was curious about our relationships. My sister was always good with dating-related stuff, but on the other hand, I was immature. Calling myself immature would be too much, to be honest. In reality, I had never dated anyone before. But since college, I had a crush. It's been almost 2 years now, but I never got the guts to confess. My sister sounds proud to talk about her jock boyfriend, whom she has been dating for more than 3 years now, to our father. My sister used to date a lot of different guys every month, but for the last 3 years, she's been dating the same guy. However, I didn't want to look like a loser, so I confessed my crush to my father and sister. My sister joyously said that she would help me to get the guy, and at that, my parents rained all kinds of compliments to her. I didn't mind as well. She's genuinely good with dating-related stuff, and I was excited to get her help to confess to him. The guy was the top in my class and dapper looking. Beauty with brains. For a few days, my sister was enthusiastically giving me bits of advice on dating and all. But one thing was suspicious. She never told me to execute those plans. For a few weeks that went on and I was waiting for my first move with guidance from my sister. I also disclosed those ideas to my best friend. She knew me from the very beginning, and after hearing my concerns, she said not to expect anything from my sister. She was right, but my sister kind of changed. She even acknowledged my deeds toward her, so I still had hope for her. A few days later, in the college cafeteria, I found her sitting with my crush. When she saw me, she winked. I was confused because why was she there? They are from different departments and they didn't know each other until I showed him to her. Later, on our way back from college, she said she was trying to be friends with him so that she could learn his likes and dislikes. I honestly asked this time because I was getting desperate a bit that when I was going to make my first move on him. She assured me soon. After about 1 week, she said tomorrow I need to confess to my crush. She also said that she already told him good things about me, so I'm not completely unknown to him, and that she was getting the vibe that he would like me just by confessing it without any extra moves. I was hesitant, but she sounded confident, so I agreed. The next day, when I asked him in the cafeteria, I got the shock of my life. He said he couldn't date me because he has been dating my sister for 2 weeks now. I was heartbroken. How can someone be so vile? I didn't even harm her anyway. Why me? I broke down in front of my best friend while she was comforting me. I never felt this betrayed. I had sacrificed so many things for this. My crush of over 2 years will never be mine because I can never beat her in this matter. With betrayal and rage, I dashed into the house and confronted her. She just smirked. My mother came and slapped me for accusing her daughter and threatened to throw me out without telling my father. My friend, on the other hand, gave me an idea to expose her with proof by making her confess to the crime she did. So I'm confused here. Should I do this? Oh my god, you got into a huge mess after believing your sister is a better person now and trying to change. To be honest, I also thought she changed when she said you are the best in front of your mother and defended you from your mother many times. But I think she is real evil. She was doing all this to gain your trust. I think that when you confessed about your crush that you had for 2 years, she got jealous and acted up, because dating is her thing and she thought you couldn't have it because you are already so good at many things. You have sacrificed a lot for her, but both the mother and the sister had failed to notice it, let alone appreciate it. Just because of them, you have lost your crush and also embarrassed yourself in front of him. I hope later in the future everything falls on the right track, but for now, the right thing you should do is to expose her dramatic evil ass. Also, if you can expose your mother as well, your dad needs to know the truth. Best of luck. What would be the difference if you exposed her? She is popular in your school, so if you don't find proof to expose her, you're gonna get backfired by her. Cause she will find a way and people will take the side of a popular kid rather than a nerd, no offense. So, if you don't have a foolproof way to expose her, I will suggest you to not even mind petty things like that. I think you better focus on your studies and help your sister to focus on her studies too, because this will both help you to ignore those small things and move on. Update 1. It's been a few months since I talked about my story and your comments have helped to open my eyes. Most of you guys suggested some ideas to expose her, and many of your suggestions match with what my best friend had suggested to me. For those who thought it was not a big thing and I'm just overreacting, I just hope I worded it properly in my story. What my sister did was wrong. She is a low-key bully and she got away with everything only because of her asshole mother and my ignorant father. However, I was planning out how I would make her confess. The best way would be to make her drunk. She gets high very easily and she never says no to free drinks. I apologized to her for creating a scene that day and asked her if she wanted to join a movie night with me and my best friend. I asked her while I was making jello shots for the night, and I knew there was no way she would say no to this. I had made non-alcoholic jello shots for me too, but she had no idea about it. My mom was supposed to stay at her friend's house, so she won't be an issue. Halfway through the movie, she was already drunk. This was our chance. She always blabbers truths when she is high, and that's what she was doing. She was talking about how I ruined her life as a perfect little girl, that she hated me with all her heart, that it was always easy for me but not for her, and which is why she stole someone from me whom I wanted for more than 2 years. She made fun of me and my incapability to seduce someone. All her confessions were recorded on my phone. The first thing I did was send it to her long-term boyfriend. I have sent the text to my friends and to my father as well. The next morning, there was chaos in college. My stepsister's confession had already gone viral. When my sister realized it, she caged me in the cafeteria crying and slapping me because her boyfriend had just dumped her, and so did her friends. Someone wrote "cheater hoe" on her locker and filled it with liquid paint. Everyone in the cafeteria booed her, and seeing their reaction, she realized no one was gonna be on her side, so she left. Before I entered the house that day, I could already sense that she had made a big drama before I came. My stepmom ran towards me, slapped me, accused me of ruining her daughter's life, and tried to kick me out. Thankfully, I knew them very well, which is why I had already sent the video to my dad as well. He was shocked by it. He had no idea that I was getting treated like this and asked me why I didn't tell him before. I told him everything about how they threatened me not to tell him. He took the earliest flight he could take and joined me. He was waiting outside as I told him. When he appeared in front of her, she acted like she had seen a ghost. He confronted them, and there was no place for them to hide their true nature anymore. They tried to blame me, but that was no use for my dad. He had witnessed enough. They fell on his feet and apologized again and again. My dad was already considering a divorce, but now he left the decision up to me. So what should I do? Give them a final chance or let them get separated? I mean, my stepmom was never bad with my dad, and he was really happy after his marriage. Their only feud is with me. That's why I'm confused. I mean, Soon, me and my stepsister won't live together anyhow. I forgot to give you the good news. After a few days of all the chaos, my crush asked me out, and of course I agreed. Our first date went well, and we are looking forward to our second date. Damn, what a roller coaster of emotions. You really went through a lot with your stepsister's betrayal. It's impressive how you took control of the situation and decided to gather evidence to expose her. You definitely did the right thing by standing up for yourself and not letting her get away with it. She needed to learn her lesson and deserved every bit of it. And it's great to hear that your crush asked you out in the end. I'm so happy for you. Update 2. Sorry it took longer than I expected to update the story, but here I am. I read all your suggestions and I can't be thankful enough for your help to me in my decision. After the incident, my stepsister's popular girl image was destroyed completely. She was now friendless and no one wanted to date her anymore. I could tell she was angry as hell at me, but she couldn't show it because my dad was in the picture. So, fake or not, both of them apologized to me in any way possible. I can tell my dad was confused with the whole situation as well. After my mother passed away, I never had a real talk with my father. It was not his fault either. He was so depressed that he relied on work more and more, and that became his habit. I told him that I'm not forgiving them, but that doesn't mean he has to get separated from his wife for me. In the end, I told him that after my final year I would move out, if possible to another city. I was clear that I wasn't going to live with them anymore. I also assured him that I don't do drugs, I never had, and it was my sister who was doing it and put the blame on me. So he didn't have to worry. For the rest of the year, both my mother and sister were good to me. After a few months, the bond in our family was somehow normal. Weirdly enough, they have been good to me and it's almost been 6 months and I still haven't received any shock from them. My father also started visiting us more often, probably because he doesn't trust them when I am here. My stepsister became more and more clingy towards me, probably because she didn't have any friends to hang out with. But I was strong enough to keep all my personal details from her, because I didn't trust her at all. On the bright side, me and Sam, my boyfriend, are exclusively dating now. It's been months and we are already looking forward to our future. I know it's soon for that, but we just clicked so well. When I finished college, I got an internship with a job offer at a reputed company in my city, and I was fortunate that my boyfriend had also bagged a position for him there, so he took it. We thought this would be the best time for a live-in relationship. Everything was going according to plan. We were happy with how things turned out for us. Our office has a branch in LA, so we decided to move there in the near future. I kept in regular contact with my dad, but not with my stepmom and sister. They stopped contacting me as well after I moved out. Maybe they are jealous because their daughter, on the other hand, got kicked out of college in her final year for forcing her ex-boyfriend, the long-term boyfriend, to get back to her while holding a knife in a drunken state inside the college. Now she is completing her studies in a community college. I didn't bother with her anymore. She is not ready to move on, so it's not my fault, right? So I decided to ignore her and move on with my life. But after a few weeks, it was COVID time, by the way, I got a call from my stepmother. She was pleading with me to let her stay with me for a few days, because my stepsister went on a sudden solo tour and been to some high-risky places, and she doesn't have a job or place to quarantine. And both my stepmother and father are patients of heart disease, and they can't risk their lives by taking her in. However, should I let her in or not? I'm sure she won't stay more than a week, and my stepmom sounds genuinely in need of help. I will ask Sam too before making any decision. Update 3. To be honest, I am not blaming anyone but me. What a horrible decision I have taken to let her in my house. I was only thinking about the positive sides of how I would help her and my parents, and it was only a matter of few days. But if she still wanted to get her ex-boyfriend back, she would definitely blame me for breaking it up. How could I forget that part? Let me tell you what happened. I explained to my boyfriend about the situation and we both agreed on letting her stay here a few days. For the first 2 days, she was fine, cooperated with everyone, and even said sorry to my boyfriend for putting him in a mess before. But after that, her behavior got all creepy and downright disgusting. She started completely ignoring me while having long talks with my boyfriend. She flirts with him constantly and touches him with cheap tricks and all. And on the other side, he looks visibly uncomfortable with her. When we watch a movie, she pushes me away and tries to snuggle with him. She used her nasty tricks and slapped his butt occasionally and would pass vulgar comments like how he got a perky little butt. She would make any excuses she could find to touch him. This is not all. My boyfriend and I can never talk to each other without her interrupting with her useless opinions. Whenever me and my boyfriend tried to have some intimate moments behind the locked doors, she would bang constantly, excusing me that she was having a headache and needed help right now. I opened the door and asked her what the issue was and offered some pills for her headache. But she said she didn't trust me with pills and wanted to talk to my boyfriend. She is again up for revenge, I can tell. She failed to get her old boyfriend back, so now she is here trying to get my boyfriend instead. My boyfriend, on the other hand, is so uncomfortable with all of this. He tries to be positive and ignore her till her quarantine ends, but he looks exhausted all the time. I asked my boyfriend about this, and he commented that it was a bad idea to trust her again and that we should never have let her stay. A shocking revelation happened when I was on a call with my father. While we were talking, he said that he thought my sister came to my house only to visit me, not for quarantine, and that she had never been on a solo trip. She was living in their house before coming here. What a bunch of bitches. So my stepmom lied to me as well so that she could get my boyfriend, but it wasn't happening on my watch. I decided to confront her in front of my boyfriend and kick her out. I'm done dealing with her. I don't want to see her again, no matter how hard I try. It's like I can never get rid of them. I always fall for their lies. I decided to explain everything his wife did. It was her last chance that my father had given her, and she blew it. Now, it's up to my dad if he wants to stay with her or not, but he deserves to know her shenanigans. I confronted her. She was, as usual, wearing the skimpiest dress she could find and sitting in the living room, staring at my boyfriend who was busy working on his laptop. I told her that she was making both of us uncomfortable and we both wanted her to leave. She tried to reason, asking, how could we say that, as she was just quarantining? I snapped at her that I knew that she didn't need to quarantine. She was just saying that to mess up my stable relationship. I gave her an ultimatum of 3 hours to pack her things and get out of our apartment. She looked at Sam, telling him to say something and that she was his first girlfriend and she knew he still loves her, and revealed that is why she came to take what was hers. I think she needs her head checked. However, my boyfriend denied any of her allegations and also ordered her to get out. She tried to get physical and approached me, but Sam caught her and threatened her to get out at that moment or he would call the cops. She realized she couldn't ruin anything here, so she left. I will explain everything to my father as well. I will let you know what happens after that. Honestly, I can't say I'm surprised. Once a bitch, always a bitch. It's disappointing that she would behave so inappropriately, especially after you opened your house to her, despite everything that's happened before. It must have been incredibly frustrating to deal with her flirting and manipulation while she was staying with you. It's good that you and your boyfriend were on the same page about asking her to leave. He seems like a really nice guy. Update 4. I am just here for a small update. First of all, thank you all for staying with me. It was a whole journey and you guys helped me a lot in it. Honestly, I can't imagine going through all that without you guys. Things have changed in the past few months for good. Well, good for me, my boyfriend, and dad though. One day, I went to my parents' house and gathered my father, stepmother, and stepsister. My mother didn't want me there because she knew why I was there. Before, I thought I would leave my father and stepmom alone as I had moved out and my father would get a companion for the rest of his life. But I can't let him live with someone manipulative, and on the other hand, my stepsister is so slow that she has no chance in the near future to move out of the house. So, now basically my stepmom and sister were living with my dad. I don't want him to get the same treatment that I was living with the whole time. I explained everything to my father, and my stepmom, as usual, tried to deny it. My boyfriend was with me, and he sided with me, saying that how my stepmom said she would be quarantined in our house. I also told him what kind of things she did to mess up my relationship. My father was disappointed when he discovered his wife was the one who suggested the evil plan of stealing my boyfriend behind his back. They apologized to all of us and asked us to give them a chance. But it was not a new picture for us. My father refused their wish and declared he would be getting a divorce as soon as possible. His wife's mind is full of evil, and she raised her daughter to be the same. Never in their life have they looked for an honest way to gain money or respect. My father had worked his whole life, so after the divorce, I suggested he stay with us forever. My father now stays with us sometimes, and sometimes goes on solo tours. He is enjoying his life with fullness. He made it a goal to explore the world, as it was my mother's dream. I, on the other hand, got married and moved to LA, as we had planned. Thankfully, none of the culprits had came to mess it up this time. We prepared for the worst, though. As much as I have heard from some of my mutual friends, my sister and stepmother are living in a small rented house. My sister always complains about the living arrangements, as it was troubling her to bring new guys over, as her mother is always there. Both were desperately trying to find some jobs to live by. Good riddance. I don't have any sympathy for them. They called it upon themselves. However, finally, I'm in a happy place now. Please give your blessings for our future. I was continuously feeling guilty for the consequences your sister was facing after you exposed her. Not going to lie, there was a moment when I thought she had learned enough. It's her time to give it a rest and lead a happy life. But she literally decided to sexually harass your boyfriend when he was clearly uncomfortable. Also, how could your mom think it was a good idea? She was also living on her last chance. I think some people are just pure evil and assholes. Glad that you and your father both got rid of those toxic people in your life. Those selfish motherfuckers don't deserve to get a chance. Good to hear that you are moving on with a passive chapter in your life. Don't ever feel guilty if any of them showed up on your doorstep with their failure. You are not responsible for their situation. It's them who brought it upon themselves. I'm not going to blame you completely, but I can't help but notice how sad a life your sister is leading compared to you. Her mother is at fault, to be honest, and she didn't have other guardians who would show her what was bad and what was not. It was not your fault, but you were good at everything, so it was natural for her to get jealous. What she was doing was evil, but from her point of view, she just wanted to have something for herself, which she and others consider she is good at. She does need the help of a therapist or some kind of good guidance, not her mother or an ignorant father, and definitely not a same-age sister who is good at everything. Hoping in the future she will learn to live a life with a good mindset through her struggles. You're seriously a trooper, man. Standing up to your fam like that takes some serious guts. Not that they've ever treated you like one. Your stepsis just can't seem to let go of the drama, huh? Good call on putting your foot down and focusing on your well-being. It sucks that your stepmom was the one who suggested it. It's disgusting how low these people can stoop. In the end, I'm happy for both of you and your dad. Keep moving forward and don't let the drama drag you down. Your future's looking bright, dude.